The Anxiety of the Heart and the Mysterious Bird of the Starry Lake. Once upon a time, at the edge of a lush forest, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Alicia. Her home was near the serene and beautiful, Starry Lake, which shimmered at night as if the stars themselves were reflected on its surface. Alicia spent her days peacefully by the lake. She had a close bond with her family and friends, and she was loved by everyone. However, one day, as she stood by the Starry Lake and saw a mysterious bird, a sudden and inexplicable fear arose in Alicia's heart. What if I were to harm this bird? This thought felt as though it had sprung from the deepest part of her mind, and Alicia was shocked, blaming herself for it. Why am I thinking this? She asked herself repeatedly, but the thought refused to go away. What Alicia didn't realize was that this anxiety did not come from within her own heart. In fact, it was something quietly planted by a demon. The demon, invisible to the eye, had slipped silently into her heart, planting a small seed there. This seed was named anxiety, and it had the power to cause worry and create fear. This seed of anxiety grew little by little each day, slowly eating away at Alicia's heart. At first, it was just a small fear, but it gradually grew larger, eventually dominating her thoughts. The reactions of family and friends. Alicia wanted to talk to someone about her fear. However, when she opened up to her family and friends, her heart grew even heavier. Her mother listened lightly and laughed. "Oh, you don't need to worry about that. There's no way someone like you could ever hurt anyone, let alone a bird. You have nothing to be afraid of." Her father also smiled and said, "It's strange that you're even worried about that. You're such a kind girl, Alicia. There's really no problem at all." When Alicia confided in her friends, they reacted similarly. "You're overthinking it, Alicia. No one is concerned about things like that. Just live your life normally, everything will be fine. There's nothing to worry about." Everyone was trying to comfort her with kindness, but to Alicia, their words felt as if they were dismissing her anxiety. The fear inside her grew even bigger, and she began to feel that, "No one understands how I feel. Why doesn't anyone understand?" Alicia cried out in her heart. "I'm so scared, but everyone just keeps laughing." Even as she smiled in front of her family and friends, Alicia's heart was being crushed by loneliness. The seed of anxiety planted by the demon grew larger inside her, and the feeling of isolation, of not being understood by anyone, pushed her further into despair. Unable to leave the house. Soon after, Alicia began avoiding going outside more and more. As the seed of anxiety grew, she became increasingly afraid of the outside world. Staying inside, she thought, would ensure that she wouldn't harm anyone. Reassuring herself with this thought, the world beyond her home became a place of fear. It started with her inability to visit Starry Lake. The time she once enjoyed by the lake had become a symbol of fear, and she could no longer take even one step towards it. Gradually, even simple walks in the forest or visits to the village became terrifying, and she stopped leaving the house altogether. What if I went outside and hurt someone? This thought constantly dominated her mind, and every time she tried to step outside, the fear would push her back. Her chest tightened, and it became hard to breathe. Her legs trembled, and her body froze, unable to even grip the door handle. Alicia spent her days looking out the window at the world she once enjoyed. The scenery she used to love now filled her with dread. Every time she thought about going outside, the anxiety tightened its grip on her chest, and eventually, staying inside became her normal way of life. "I might never be able to go outside again. This despairing thought gradually took over Alicia's heart. Days after being unable to leave. The days after Alicia stopped leaving the house were long and lonely. Each morning, her routine began with gazing out the window at the outside world. Birds flew by, and the wind rustled the trees, all as beautiful as ever, but that beauty now felt distant and unreachable to her. "Why can't I go outside?" Alicia asked herself over and over, but no answer came. While she remained confined to her home, the seed of anxiety planted by the demon grew larger, like a tree, depriving her of her freedom. During the day, seeing her family happily enjoying themselves outside made Alicia feel even heavier. Even when her family invited her to join them, she couldn't overcome the fear, always declining with, "I think I'll stay in today." As night fell, Alicia's heart sank even deeper. In the still darkness, she would lie alone in her room, facing the terror inside her. The whispers of anxiety echoed in her mind, as if the demon were whispering directly into her ear, tormenting her. "You shouldn't go outside. If you do, something bad will happen." These whispers followed Alicia even as she tried to sleep. Anxiety had taken root deep within her heart, and each night, its shadow enveloped her. Over time, Alicia began to think, "I might never be able to go outside again." Although she wanted to leave, the fear inside her constantly outweighed that desire, trapping her in her home. A light of hope and the first step. One day, the mysterious bird appeared before Alicia once more. The bird quietly perched on her shoulder and gently spoke to her. "The anxiety you feel is not real. Someone has planted it inside you. But you have the power to remove it yourself." Alicia was shocked by these words. The fear she had been feeling didn't come from within, but had been planted by an outside force. The bird continued, "Only your own will can remove it. If you believe in yourself, the anxiety will disappear." Trusting in the bird's words, Alicia resolved to face the fear inside her. Every time the fear tried to take over, she reminded herself, this was planted by the demon. "I don't have to be afraid of this anxiety." At first, it was difficult, but each day Alicia tried to gather her courage and step outside. Whenever the demon's whispers echoed in her mind, she ignored them and kept moving forward with her own will. Small progress and reuniting with friends. Alicia's recovery didn't happen all at once. It was a series of small steps. Even just walking outside her house brought back the demon's whispers, but she continued to ignore them, gradually finding her own way to overcome the anxiety. One day, she walked around the house. The next, she managed to go to the edge of the lake. Each time, Alicia reminded herself, "I'm not going to hurt anyone. The demon's whispers aren't my true thoughts." With each step, the seed of anxiety planted by the demon withered away little by little. Eventually, Alicia decided to reunite with her friends. Although she was nervous, her friends welcomed her back with open arms. "Alicia, we've been waiting for you." Their words filled her with joy. The demon's whispers no longer had control over her heart. Recovery and a new beginning. As time passed, Alicia reconnected with the outside world, and soon she was able to enjoy spending time by Starry Lake with her friends once more. The seed of anxiety planted by the demon had been erased by Alicia's own strength, and it no longer bound her. She returned to sharing meals with her family, and there was no longer any fear in her heart. The Starry Lake once again brought her peace and joy, and Alicia's new days were filled with happiness.